Alright guys, quick little update. As we've mentioned before, Christian and I are kind of off doing our own things now. He's doing more of the vehicle repairs, just day-to-day stuff. And I do more of this. So we aren't really working together anymore. And I've taken over the YouTube channel now. So I was doing a lot of the junkyard exploration stuff. We have like 2 feet of snow, so I can't really do that stuff right now. Haven't really gotten too many good leads to go south yet. Been pretty busy lately, but quick little update. I'm no longer at the Elk Mound shop either now, so between rent and 2 hours a day drive time and everything, it's gotten too daunting. So until I can build a shop, I'm working out of the garage I'm currently in here, which is literally just a 1-stall garage. So the first project I'll be doing out of this is a 2004, I think it is, Scion XB that I'll be cutting into a truck, much like I did a couple of years ago, except this one I plan on taking a 1996 Honda Prelude, if I get my hands on it. That'll be the donor car, to do a mid-engine swap on this one. So I'll take the front stub, cradle, whatever you want to call it, fabricate it to be mid-engine in here, and then it'll be rear-wheel drive. So that's the plans. We'll see how it goes, especially being a smaller space and just a big project. So I'll flip you guys around to give you a little bit of a walk through what the plan is and everything else, and get cracking at it. Okay guys, so here's the donor car here, and the converting it to a truck side for me is really not that hard fabrication. Done it once before and have a pretty good idea of what I'm going to do with this one, because it's going to be very similar. The hard part is going to be the fab work of getting rid of all of this and getting a cradle that's not meant to be in there. But basically what I'll do is right along here, I'll cut there. I'll pull all this trim off, cut along all of this, and then I'll make another cut that'll probably be about there all the way across. And then I'll follow this line around and cut there. I'm not going to shut the trunk, but this is where I'll cut here, which if I do shut this, you can see it's lower than where my other cut will be. But the reason is because I'll use Dodge Dakota bed rails. The top of the bed, I'll cut those off and put them on. And the reason I like those ones so much is they're solid flat across the top. They don't have those little stake pockets, and it's just one less thing to deal with. But then also, so that puts that a touch higher. But then this part here being so much lower, because that's going to be even higher yet, is made up with the tailgate of a Dodge Dakota. So I'll cut the whole top half off as much as I want. You know, I could have it go as high as I want, but I'll cut it into sections because this one's curved, whereas the Dakota is going to be flat. So I don't know if we can really see, you know, you can't really tell. It's curved though, it does this. So I'll cut them into sections and then weld sections so I can get it curved and then fill in with my own material. Yes, so then this section here will move forward, butting up to that. This will all be flat, and the bottom of the tailgate will be there. This bottom of the tailgate will be fixed. My other one came off. The other one, this part that was slid forward, you could open up. I'm not going to do that on this one because it's going to be mid-engine. So what I will do is a tonneau cover. I'll build one so you'll be able to lift it up. You'll be able to get inside, work on the engine and everything else. Also, you can already see it's gutted. I think I have that footage of doing that at the old shop. I'll plop that in there so there's some time-lapse fun there. My other thoughts with this is I plan on pulling motor and trans out, and then I'll hopefully be able to come up with a way to build, I guess essentially a boot, you know, out of the front end. That way you can still use this for travels. The only thing that I'll have to actually sit down and use my noodle to think about is I need to have it element safe. So if we throw luggage in there, I'm not gonna worry about it getting wet and stuff like that. But there it is. It's not perfect. I mean, there's rust on the fender, so fender's gonna get replaced. There's rust up here. It's not through, but it is stuff that needs to get addressed. But the car was bought at the right price, so I couldn't really pass it up. But there's kind of the overview. I'm gonna start pulling some glass and see if I can get some cuts made and at least get it turned, you know, or at least the top cut off. I want the top cut off first, that way it's 100% access, you know, around all of here while trying to do that. So the top will get cut off, then I'll work on the fab work side of it. Once it runs and moves and everything, then I'll start on the body work and actually finish it out. There you have it. All right, so I've got the front cut all the way across. I've got this on both sides cut, and then the tailgate, you know, is attached to this, and it's not latched. So right now, if I grab that and lift up, the whole thing's gonna flop off. But I need this back glass to not break. So I'm gonna wait until I have an extra set of hands to lift this off. And once it's off, I still have to mark it off, but this cut, that's gonna be the tailgate in half, so this half will stay, and the front will be with that to move forward. But I'll make that cut once it's off, and then this cut once it's off, because that's, again, this whole center section is gone. This is the section that'll be moved up. It'll go right there. I'll do a little bit of grafting with some other metal there, but then I've got that factory back glass and all that fits, works great. So I'm gonna walk around, get another idea as far as what the other to-do list is in order of operations, because like I'd like to pull motor and trans, I'd like to pull all this stuff off, but I don't want to do that until I have this other donor car up here. The other donor's a couple hours south of here, but I want this one to run and drive. That way I can pull it out, bring the donor in, cut it up, drag the donor back out and down to my land, and then just drive this one back in and work on it in here. This week is all like, today's -7. I think tomorrow is like -10. Like it's stupid cold. And right now I'm out of diesel or kerosene, so I don't have anything to even have heat right now. So it's a little chilly in here, but I want to keep this running. So I've got to figure out some other, what can I do until I get time to go get that other car. So I'm gonna get that list, get some things marked up while I'm waiting. And as soon as Drake's available, I'll fire this back up and we'll get that dramatic moment of the top coming off. All right, so got my handy helper now, so we're gonna lift this off. I did go ahead and cut the back off. I don't know if we can tell at that angle. I did get the bottom half cut off. I figured out a way I could do it while it was on. It worked out pretty well. Yeah, at this point, we're literally just gonna lift this off. Once it's off, I'll be able to make this cut here, and then this, and I guess it'll have to come down to here too, but so this part is literally scrap, and that's the part that'll get moved forward. But yeah, we're just gonna grab a side. I think
enough room maybe?
Yeah, that's what I was just wondering. I think we'll have enough. Worst case, Drake, if we go back and we turn it this way, we'll be good.
Okay.
Because as soon as I cut that off, you know, then it's whatever. It's probably gonna be a little bit heavier this side,
Right.
and we're mostly just worried about that glass not breaking. So I don't think it's this careful, because
I
this,
was gonna say that's gonna pull off.
yeah, and it does that, and it springs up really hard because it's meant to have a little more weight on it. Oh, pause.
Oh, got wires.
Yep. So Drake's side has some wires, so we're gonna get those snipped. I was so careful to not cut them while I was doing the cut, because I didn't want to lose my ability to take my, or open that back up, because it's electronic.
Gone now.
And just like that, it's convertible. All right, so I got that cut done, and I'm gonna have to go back through my footage and see. I had my light hooked up to the same switch there, so at one point when I pulled, it moved all the camera stands. So I'm hoping I didn't lose too much footage there. Granted, it's just a time-lapse cut, but in the middle here, I was really struggling. And I was like, oh, I don't know, I'll change my blade out, and it cut through kind of well. I thought, oh, there's probably some bracing, you know, since this entire roof is just, I don't know, freaking 20 gauge piece of steel from here all the way up there. Now, granted, there's nothing there, but, you know, there's one right there, so I don't know. I thought maybe that's what I ran into. That's not what I ran into. I just happened to cut right in the middle of the freaking one of the bolts there. So it's really, I don't know, scary to see how simplistic like all these are. If you look there, that bar right there is the only bracing in that entire door, same as this one here. If you look in there, I mean, there's nothing. It's just this thin sheet metal, you know. So I don't know. You think about a side impact hitting right there. You've got structural support there. You got structural support there. You got a little bar on the bottom, but basically, all of here is nothing. Just kind of, I don't know, kind of scary to me. So that's cut. I'm gonna get that out of here. The Prelude is being delivered right now. So my goal is to get this stuff out of here, get that one in, mark up where I think I'm gonna need it, plus a bunch. I don't have, my truck and trailers on my land, which is buried in like 20 inches of snow. So there's no getting my truck and trailer out. So I've got to get that thing hacked up. I'm just gonna throw it up online, whatever's left of the Prelude for free, come pick it up. So I want to make sure that I have everything I need and some. That way I don't have to freak out later. But that's where I'm currently at. So I'm going to get some off-cam cleaning up here. All right, guys. So here's the Prelude before it's dismantled. Guy dropped it off yesterday. Not a whole lot of footage worth noting of that. I just pushed it up here with the XB. It's covered in mud and salt from the drive, obviously, or the trailer. To pull all the body panels off before tearing it apart, or before doing my cuts and stuff. So that's when we get at right now. I'm gonna see if I can get you guys set up somewhere and just get going at it. Update here, the interior is all torn out, which allowed me to get to all the electrical that ran underneath the dash. So you can see there's still electrical in there. That's stuff that runs to the back, so I'm not worried about that. Basically, I just tore everything dash and engine bay. Even there, I mean, there's stuff that runs to headlights and stuff like that. this is the conglomeration of harness there. And I've got to figure out what I need and what I don't need, but I want to have everything out. Fuse box and some of this is still in here. I took power steering out, AC, radiator, ABS, and all of that. And now I'm down to where I think I've got everything off of motor from Firewall except for fuel return and the shift cables. I've got everything torn out on the inside, but there's a plate right there, and it has 2 bolts that run up from the bottom. So those 2 bolts got to come out, and then I believe everything will be done. So my plan is to cut right along this seam all the way down, because the sway bar, oh man, I don't know if we're gonna be able to see it. I didn't plan very well here. The sway bar runs right along that seam there. You can see the seam is right there, and it runs along that. So we're gonna try and follow that all the way down. And basically it'll just be from here down to there. Obviously there's nothing in the middle, and then same on that side. That should separate these two. Hopefully I can get this out of here and then figure out, you know, my width measurements, make that cut so I can trim all that up, and what I can cut across there, and then yeah, go from there. All right, so it's through. All the way through. All the way through. So I've got the jack stands underneath. I'm just being crazy tipped. I do have some brake lines that are still connected to Firewall to this area here. Proportioning valve, stuff like that, that it's just gonna get cut. Fuel return is still there. I left that on because I didn't know what all was going to be sparking where, so I just figured leave fuel stuff alone. That one is off, but I plugged it back up. Heater core lines are still there, and I still have those shift cables underneath. I'm pretty sure that I will be able to undo that stuff and be 100% free from the back half of the car. So now, in hindsight, I did not need to take the doors off. So whatever, I guess it was easier to work around. So I'll get those thrown back on. That way, whoever wants to pick this up for scrap, you know, it's enclosed and everything. But there you have it, guys. I think that I'm going to do that stuff off cam. And I think that's going to be it for part 1. Next step will be measuring, trimming out this width and the front portion of this, and then bringing the XB back in and cutting out the rear port part of that. There's order operations there. You know, I want to pull a fuel tank, and I want all of my structural support done with welding the doors shut and getting some cross bracing and everything before cutting out any floors and that. But yeah, that's going to be part 2. Hope you guys have enjoyed so far. I know this is kind of the boring stuff of it, but hopefully before the snow is gone, this thing will be done and ripping some sweet donuts.